Was Robyn Brown duped into getting married to Kody? Mykelti, star of Sister Wives, explains how families conceal their problems. 4 minutes to read. When Robyn Brown married Kody, she was unaware of the full situation. In a recent live stream, Mykelti talked about her extended family, including both intimate and tense ties. We covered this story. Robyn joining the family has been one of the most complicated aspects of the Sister Wives narrative. Mykelti claims that Kody wanted everyone to present a cordial and conflict-free front for his new bride. However, that clearly couldn't continue indefinitely. It took Robyn Brown years to become closed off to the rest of the extended family, according to Mykelti's YouTube livestream. Why? Because she witnessed a happy family facade that concealed their true issues when she married Kody in 2010. Robyn was not always this bashful, Mykelti said. Robyn wasn't always shy, as she has been over the past few years. Recall that she lived with Robyn before to the marriage, so she would be aware. Mykelti thought, I think a lot of the shyness has been developed because she's been hardened by opinions, and hardened by reality, such as the fact that her family isn't what she thought she was marrying into. It seems that Kody told his 3 wives at the time, all of whom are now his ex-wife, and their several kids to hide the family's numerous issues from his prospective bride. Mykelti recalls, I believe we were instructed to put on this lovely front when she first joined the family, much like when the show first started. She claims that Kody gave the family instructions that we needed to put our best foot forward, and we needed to not have fights and show the world the beauty that is polygamy. It was the same thing when Robyn joined the family, Mykelti went on. We were instructed to demonstrate our family's beauty, privilege, and awesomeness, so she would want to be a part of it, she explained. Naturally, Robyn Brown eventually realized that Kody was not living the fantasy of polygamy. There were genuine issues, the usual ones for any family, and naturally, those of any family with a member with a personality like Kody's. Mykelti said, I do believe Robyn was taken aback by how awful Dad's relationships were with each of the wives. She thought, when she joined, it took a while for everyone to show their true selves and real relationships, and for the rose-colored glasses to come off. According to Mykelti, she really started to notice there aren't little problems after a couple of years in. These are some significant problems. She went on, so no, I don't think she knew about the problems, but I think she learned about them. But just to be clear, Mykelti isn't saying that she's a willful conspirator to trick and trap Robyn. She made it clear that none of us were attempting to mislead her. Instead, we were trying to welcome her, Mykelti clarified. We were trying to put our best foot forward, not deceive, she said, adding that they were not fighting in front of her. The distinction between the two is subtle. It's not dishonest to do a little extra cleaning and organizing before visitors arrive, but hiding trash beneath the guest bed could be a bad surprise for a guest. Seeing things from her point of view may help us better comprehend her Sobbin' Robyn Brown nickname and the emotions that led to it. She accepted this wonderful man's invitation to join his contented polygamist family, though it's unclear why she thought this of Kody. She eventually discovered that Meri had conflicts with both of the other sister wives and that he had problems with all 3. Notably, Kody no longer maintains a close relationship with the majority of his adult children. Naturally, it appears that Robyn is emotionally too deeply involved to want to go. She seemed to like the wool over her eyes, despite the fact that Kody is said to have deceived her into this marriage. Kody Brown has no intention of reconciling with Christine, Janelle, or Meri, at least not as far as we know. This does not, however, imply that the father of 18 does not harbor any regrets regarding the breakdown of these relationships, particularly with regard to his current status with the aforementioned ex-partners. On Thursday's new edition of Special Forces' World's Toughest Test, Brown really stated out, I would like to repair all the relationships with my family and even my ex-wives, and that's not easy. Catching Kody in a self-aware moment is quite uncommon. He rarely accepts responsibility for his actions. However, the reality star also acknowledged this week that he doesn't get along well with the majority of his children. And it is awful. Regarding the list, which includes daughters Madison Brush and Mykelti Padron, as well as a number of his elder boys, Kody said, I apologize if I have offended or hurt my children, and I need to regain that kind of humility in my life. Normally, the 56-year-old admitted that he doesn't want to admit I'm wrong sometimes. Kody continued in front of the camera, saying that he felt at last prepared to accept some responsibility for the extreme division in his family. I am the difference," he declared to his rivals. "I ought to have had a close bond with my kids. I'm in a place in my life now where I'm very willing to say that I've been wrong," he added, sobbing, after years of being estranged from most of his elder children. Whoa, did we hear it right? Has Kody Brown just acknowledged his mistake? The TLC personality continued by saying that his shortcomings were because I didn't know shit about being a dad and husband, and I thought I did. I genuinely believed I did, but I misinterpreted that, and I made numerous mistakes. Does Kody have time to repair his ties with his children and sons? We suppose there's always time. However, Kody's previous remarks regarding these children aren't particularly promising. Could he finally have witnessed some form of parental behavior? Is he going to change his ways soon? We don't think much of the man. However, we fervently hope that Mykelti Brown is coming up regarding Meri. Fans of Sister Wives are well aware that the once pitying ex-sister wife has a bad reputation at best. Meri is not a very good parent, according to Mykelti. She's by no means the first to say that. Despite her careful word choice, she isn't afraid to present a negative image of Meri. Mykelti Brown and her husband, Tony Padron, spoke with Pop Psych this week. She doesn't have a relationship with Meri, just like many of her siblings, and she explained why. As Mykelti put it, she was just not a very good parent. It's harsh, but accurate. She went on to say, she wasn't a very good mom. It was not enjoyable to be around her. Some parents are not fun because they are either overly serious or preoccupied with their jobs. It appears that Meri's emotional instability is the cause, which is unacceptable and disqualifying of a parent. Mykelti brought her mom Christine Brown's book during the conversation, pointing out that it discusses the reasons behind her lack of affiliation with Meri. Regarding her mother, she remarked, "She says it without saying it," implying that there is more to the tale of Christine's separation from Meri. "Meri has a very hard personality," Mykelti said. "Her personality is very aggressive." Mykelti recounts what seems like emotional abuse, but Meri has been accused of physical assault by a couple of her siblings. She clarified that it wasn't physically, but rather, go in, get it done. It doesn't matter how old you are or how capable you are. Mykelti Brown remembered Meri's personality and continued to describe someone who sounded awful to be around. She explained, "It doesn't matter when she asks, you go in and get it done. You get into a lot of trouble if you complain," explained Mykelti. "You get into serious trouble if you don't follow her instructions exactly." She went on, "You get into difficulty if you ask questions about how to do it better. You get into problems if you didn't complete it on time." Mykelti admitted, "She was quite strict and extremely hard. She was more likely than the other children to make fun of me. I was unable to explain why. Because of the way she treated us when we were younger, the most of us don't get along with her today," Mykelti thought. "Meri has tried to make amends," she continued. "However, it seems that their efforts simply serve to affirm her identity and choices. She would say the traditional, 'I'm so sorry,' as we grew older. 'I cherish you.' Mykelti said, 'I'll treat you better. Let's just go have a nice girls' day or something.' She pointed out that she would get upset with you for something in the middle, and then somehow it would become your fault," Mykelti explained, "and then it would go back to where you were apologizing for something she did. You were in the wrong, but all of a sudden you felt honored to be among her and in her presence." Mykelti Brown said of Meri, "She would have these big emotional swings where she'd just get angry and intense. It is unacceptable for a parent to act that way." She proposed, "I believe that's the reason why the majority of my siblings decide not to have a very big relationship with her. I won't list them all, but I will never have a relationship with her because of how she treated me when I was younger," Mykelti confirmed. "Well done, but she's not an awful person. In my opinion, she was very generous when she said, 'I just think she's made mistakes.' She still deserves happiness at the end of it," Mykelti continued. "I simply will never be in a relationship with her, but the rifts in Kody Brown's family are becoming more apparent. The patriarch of Sister Wives has been estranged from a number of his offspring for a long time. Madison Brush, their daughter, hasn't spoken to her father in years, according to recent confirmation from Janelle Brown. The public disintegration of the Brown family is further complicated by this disclosure. It comes after the well-publicized splits from his 3 former marriages, Christine, Janelle, and Meri. Contrasts in emotional distance. With on-screen assistance, Madison's silence is revealed when Kody makes an appearance on Special Forces World's Toughest Test. His wife Robyn Brown and their kids sent him heartfelt video messages on the show. His tense connections with other family members contrast sharply with this support. News reports that Kody broke down in tears as he watched Robyn's letter. She prayed for his safety and that she was proud. The obvious divide within the larger Brown family is highlighted in this presentation. Kody has admitted in public that he contributed to the disintegration of the family. On the show, he emotionally acknowledged that he is the discrepancy in his interactions with his kids. The reality TV star's self-reflective moment was a noteworthy admission. He stated that he wanted to mend all of his family ties, including those with his former spouses. He acknowledged that this endeavor would not be simple, though. The contemporary familial estrangements are framed by this continuous inner struggle. But sitting calmly on her veranda, with a cup of tea in her hand, Christine Brown watched the sun set over Flagstaff, painting the mountains a golden hue. In the most recent Sister Wives episode, Christine's tone was different. It was more subdued, introspective, and intensely personal. With a shaky giggle and teary eyes, she said, "I didn't even know if we were actually divorced. No actual paper was ever signed. Not a ceremony, no resolution. Only angry words were spoken." And then there was silence. Fans have been watching Christine and Kody Brown's marriage fall apart for years due to emotional distance and polygamy. However, nobody was aware of the true uncertainty surrounding their split. Christine clarified that she and Kody lost contact after she and her daughters relocated to Utah. "We didn't discuss formally ending it," she remarked. "I simply left, packed up, and started again. But the question, are we still married in God's eyes, was constantly there in my heart." As Christine moved through her new house, which was warm, inviting, and full of laughing, the cameras followed her. David Woolley, her new fiancé, waved from the kitchen while he was preparing dinner. Christine grinned and said, "He makes me feel seen." However, I still had to contend with the ghosts of my past. I had to make sure I wasn't carrying any unresolved matters. Christine and Janelle met at a small Salt Lake City cafe later that week. Despite their friendliness, their chat became serious. With a hint of humor, Janelle questioned, "Do you think Kody even realizes you're gone?" Christine let out a sigh. "To be honest, I believe he is living in denial. I don't think he really let me go, even though he told people we were divorced. Perhaps neither of us did. The two women's unvarnished honesty was captured on camera by TLC. Christine admitted that she simply walked away after leaving without following any legal or religious procedures. "It was both liberating and perplexing," she remarked. "I didn't want to be a part of a man who had lost interest in me. However, I also didn't want to offend my religious beliefs. It took me a while to realize that the moment my heart left the marriage, it was over." Kody, meanwhile, sat for his own confessional in a different area of town. He spoke with unexpected emotion. "I'm not sure if we're broken, divorced, separated, or perhaps all of the above. My spiritual wife was Christine. She was my partner for almost 30 years, but we never had legal documents. I suppose I find it difficult to declare that it is truly over." In order to find closure, Christine visited with a family counselor in the following scenario. "I had to fully liberate myself," she clarified. She learned from the counselor that her value lay in the serenity she had within, not in a label like wife, ex-wife, or sister wife. By the end of the session, Christine made the decision to have a tiny, symbolic ceremony, which is a release rather than a wedding. She stood in her backyard in the gentle Utah moonlight, surrounded by David and her kids. "This is not a goodbye to pain, it's a hello to peace," she remarked softly as she lit a candle. Some of her daughters were crying as they clapped, and David put his arm around her. Christine gazed at the camera as the program came to a close, her eyes composed and assured. "I'm free now, even if I wasn't sure if we were truly divorced. I'm cherished, and at last, I'm leading the life I've always desired." TLC hinted to the upcoming show as the credits rolled. Kody responds to the ceremony for Christine greetings. "And welcome to my channel, dear viewers. I'm Sabrina. I hope you're having a great day. Remember to subscribe to the channel if you enjoy the video.